Hey everybody, this is Jeremy J. And today's video is own where you are at in your life, and then of course seek to expand on that or build on that or improve on that, however you want to look at that. And why do I bring this up? Can't we just be happy with who we are and where we are at? Well, I can only speak from my experience, but whenever I become happy with where I'm at and don't seek to improve on that or stretch myself or become more than myself, I end up getting depressed or unhappy, or I just feel like there's something missing from me in my life if I'm not doing that. And oftentimes that means doing things that are scary and frightening and take some time to develop. And oftentimes when you're looking to become more than you are, you must face things that are frightening and scary, and you'll have to do those things while you are frightened and scared. But the good news is that doing those things will become easier over time, and you'll integrate them into who you are, and you'll have gained a level in your life. So always seek to first examine your life and just be honest with where you're at. So let me do that for you. So you're wondering, how do I become honest with myself about where I'm at? Well, I think that's pretty easy. It's very simple. One, how old are you? If you're 37 like me, I say, I'm 37. I make no attempt to hide my age whatsoever. I am a 37-year-old man. And the reason I bring this up is because I've used Tinder and I've used online dating sites and talked to people, and there's a number of them that try to hide their age and say, I'm this age, but they're really not. And to me, that suggests that someone is trying to hide the truth because they're insecure about something. They don't want something to be known because they think that if it is known, it will be a negative view of who they are, and they may not get something that they're looking for. So be completely honest with your age, especially as you get older. I'm going to be 38 in December. I'm super excited about turning 38 and continuing to stay young. And I love it. I think it's awesome. So recognize your age and don't hide it at all. And then recognize how much you weigh and what your body fat is. This is very easy to do. All it requires is a scale and a little body fat machine that you hold. So you can get all that for like $40, $50 on Amazon. It's very simple. I'll put a link in this video to get those things. And then see where you measure up to what's reasonable for someone of your build or of your body type, and be honest with yourself about it. Be honest with yourself about it. And don't try and sugarcoat it. Your physical body is a huge indicator of who you are and what you spend your time doing and the energy you have. There's no two ways around this. And the physical part, it matters. It creates confidence. It feels so good to be in shape and eat healthy versus being overweight and unhealthy. And I've been in both camps. When I was in my mid-20s, I was about 50 pounds overweight, and I was depressed and unhappy. And that's not to say that I don't get depressed or unhappy today, but taking care of my physical body, which I'm still in the process of taking care of. You don't just kind of arrive one day with your physical body and you're like, well, I'm good to go now. That's not true. It's a lifelong process to take care of your physical body. And it's easy to find a chart that says what's the ideal weight and body mass for your age and body type. This is easy. The thing about this stuff is that it's so easy. There's a showering of information online about how to get this, and then you just have to read it and do it. It's quite simple. And all we're doing now is just simply saying, here's where I'm at right now. Here's where I'm at. What are some other things your job or your career. What are you doing right now, and are you happy with that? It's a very simple question. What am I doing now, and am I happy with it? Maybe you're doing something that's pretty good and you're pretty happy with it, but it's not quite what you'd like to be doing. That's okay. Maybe you work at a job that's shitty and you just hate it. That's okay. All you're doing here is evaluating your situation as it is, not worse or better, just here is reality as it is. And by doing this, you'll be able to correctly understand your situation and the steps necessary to improve it, should you desire to improve it. What else besides your career? What about the people you know in your life? Maybe you don't know anyone in your life, and you might be okay with that. You might be okay flying solo in your life, and that's okay. But you might have part of you that says, gosh, I wish I was around more successful people who are doing stuff in the world, and I'm not right now, but I would like to, but that's where I'm at now. That may be what you discover about yourself. I wish to be around more successful and happy people. I'm not right now, but that's where things are. Write it down. Write all of this down. Your financial situation. How much money do you have in your bank? And how much debt do you have? How many investments do you have? This is easy. It's just tallying up some numbers. And just say, that's where I'm at. Maybe you're about to go bankrupt. Just say, well, I'm about to go bankrupt. That's where you are. And you might say, well, where do I want to get to? Where are you in your relationships or interactions with people? Like, I can do this for you right now. I'm 37, I'm divorced, and I've been out on my own for 9 months. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm single. And I don't say this is good or bad. It's just, here's where I'm at right now. And then I can take that and say, well, where do I want to be? What do I want? Based on my current situation, maybe I really like my current situation and I have no problem with it. That's fine. But the point is, once you assess your current situation, you can make that decision for yourself. If you don't like it, then you've got to decide, what do I want instead, and how am I going to get there? So these are just some areas, some of the simple areas of life to go through to assess your situation on. Then the next step is to say, well, this is where I'm at. What do I want instead? What would I really like to have, or what situation would I really like to be in instead? And just go through each of these areas and outline what you would really like instead. It doesn't mean that you all of a sudden will get it, just snap your fingers and get it, but it's what you would really like for yourself in your life. And you go through each of those areas. Your health, your weight, your body fat, your career, finances, your circle of influence, your relationships with people, whatever you want those to look like, you write it down. And then you say, okay, I have all this I want to be, I want to become and have. What's it going to take to get there? And some of them are going to be really hard when you think about it. And I want to give an example from my own life. So in my being out on my own now, I say, okay, I want to attract the most beautiful feminine woman that is possibly imaginable. Just as something I want. That's something I'm interested in. Not everyone's interested in that. And what I've learned being out on my own now is that there is a type of person I must become for that to happen. And there's some characteristics of that person that I'm in the process of working on still. And I know what needs to be done, and I spend time doing it. And it's very simple. It's an increase of my confidence and my sense of entitlement that I deserve that, and that I'm awesome enough to attract that into my life. And some of the things that are a requirement of doing that is facing my fears. Like, one of my fears as a young child was talking to girls. I was extremely shy. I would freeze up whenever they would come near me. Just a complete freeze. Maybe you'll can screenshot that face I just did there. I would freeze up. I was terrified. And one of the qualities in order to get that in your life is the exact opposite of that. It's a very free-flowing, confident, inspired, passionate person who believes and feels entitled to have that. And to get that, you have to approach people in person. In my expert opinion, I'm working on becoming an expert, but in my opinion, the only way to get that, you can't do it online. You can't do it anonymously. You have to, it's like, here's the analogy I'll use. It's like William Wallace in the movie Braveheart. So William Wallace is a guy in Scotland many years, hundreds of years ago, and he becomes a leader of Scotland, and he fights for Scotland to be removed from the oppression of the English. And one of the reasons he does this is because his woman is executed by an English captain or general or somebody like that. And it sends him into a complete rage and full consumption on stopping the oppression and exacting his revenge. And he's consumed by it. He goes out into battle and he gets bloodied and he faces tons of different obstacles and he gets battered and bruised and scarred and he's faced that for much of his life. But in the end, he eventually is able to do it after his death. Even the inspiration he created after his death caused that to happen. And I think in order for someone, any guy, to get this, there's many things to get, but I'm just speaking from something that I'm interested in. You have to go out into life and face that fear, the approach anxiety, the nervousness, the fear of rejection, all of these things. You must feel those, and then you must insert yourself into the battlefield, if you want to call it that, to the type of person you're interested in. That means you use your eyes and you scan. Like for me, that's going to a mall, going to a park or an event, and then seeing someone and making eye contact and conversation with that type of person that I'm interested in, and facing the rejection that comes from that, facing the fear that comes from that, and even learning about myself when I've done that and feeling fear and not doing it sometimes. And all these things that I learn about myself as I work on becoming the type of person that can attract that. And so I know exactly what I need to do. Continue to approach people in person to the point I feel so comfortable, like I feel now doing this video. I feel that comfortable walking up to a stranger and exuding that masculine presence, that confidence as someone who's entitled for that, and having that be felt. And part of this is just learning from other people as well who have been there, learning from experts or people that also want that same thing and get it, and what their take is on it. Then there's a common theme that you must just put yourself out there. So I just gave you an example for my own life of something I wanted, but for you, you may want a better career, you may want a better financial situation, your body to be in impeccable shape, or whatever it may be. And there's experts out there who can show you the way to what you're looking for. And YouTube, that's why I like doing videos on YouTube. I'm doing this video and I'm going to upload it to YouTube. I can share something that I feel like I have an opinion on that I can share and upload it to YouTube for people who may be interested in this subject matter. And there's other experts there out on YouTube for all the things that I've talked about. And it's amazing. And a lot of them will take video footage showing it, like right in front of your face. Here's examples of it working. And it's incredible to me. And so that's one of the key steps, is to know exactly where you're at and what you want, and then to find out the steps to get there. And my goodness, YouTube, for finding the steps to get there, YouTube has been amazing to me. I have a young daughter, 8, and a 5-year-old, who learned gymnastics from YouTube because that's something they wanted, and they watched YouTube videos of people who had already been there. And then all of a sudden you might become an expert and you can do YouTube videos and start to be a leader in that field for people. And to me, that's super interesting and exciting. So there you go. There's three things here. One, examine and be completely honest with where you're at, with all your fears and insecurities, and just accept them. Number two, say, this is where I'd like to be in these areas. This is what I want. And then number three, find experts and how-tos of how to get there, and put in the blood, sweat, and tears to do it, no matter how afraid you are. Even if you feel like you're going to pass out, put yourself out there and go for it. And don't hesitate, even if you make a fool of yourself. I made here's a funny story. Hopefully this makes you laugh. I was out at the grocery store today at Walmart, and as I said, I like to approach people in person, and getting in the habit of always approaching someone when I feel interest, because I feel like it's getting a sense of entitlement in me. So there's this beautiful woman at a Walmart store, and I just walked up to her and made some small talk. Hey, how's it going? You're very attractive. My name's Jeremy. And we talked for like 30 seconds, and then she kind of points down the aisle and she says, yeah, and then there's my husband and my kids. And I kind of laughed, and I said, oh, okay. I didn't realize that. I'll leave the interaction there. But she said, thank you for the compliment, though. And I took my cart and scooted off. And I laughed because that's funny to me. What's really cool about that is I didn't hesitate, and there was no angriness or frustration. It was because I was very calm and relaxed while I did it, and it feels good. It's hard to explain. It feels good as a man, and maybe a woman as well, to put yourself out there fearlessly when you feel fear in that area. Whether it works out or not is not really what's important. It's going for the things you want without attachment to what might happen, because I honestly get more from an experience like that. I get more from that experience than anything that might happen as a consequence of giving myself that experience, if that makes sense. So there you go. Don't be afraid to analyze yourself and be truthful with yourself. And then use YouTube. Just do searches in YouTube and start finding the things that will help you in those areas to become more than you are right now. And it's extremely fulfilling. If you want a fulfilling life, seek to become more than you are and face your fears. There you go. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next coaching video.